Hello, hello, beautiful people. How are we doing today? We have the amazing Brittany Berryman coming on here, coming on Skorch the Fears, dealing with my tech issues. It's incredible out here, guys. I'm in Phoenix this weekend, so yeah, I don't have my usual studio setup, but we got everything working. We're all here. We're all good to go. Brittany, welcome to Skorch the
Hi,
Fears.
what's up? I think you look fantastic. I mean, the
Thank
lighting's
you. I'm
great.
glad. I'm glad the lighting's good. My editor for sure is not gonna be happy with this. He's gonna see this later and be like, "What? God dang it, Jonah! Like you gotta freaking fix this stuff. Everything behind you is completely blown out. At least
I
my
think
face
it's
is good.
wonderful. Your face
Um,
is good.
yeah, at the very least. So, Brittany, for the few people who may not know who you are, probably sub two people, quickly introduce yourself. Say what's your business, and yeah, just give like a real quick intro into what you do.
Well, I'm Brittany Berryman, and it's been a journey. I guess started this journey of real estate investing and wholesaling about 2 years ago, and our life has completely changed since I would say since 2021. I got into everything starting as an astro student, and since then everything has just evolved. I am a mom of two. My husband and I have been married for almost 17 years, and
Woo!
17 years. I know it's a long time. Trying to start. I should start planning our 20-year anniversary now because I want something
3 years ahead.
big.
3 years ahead of schedule?
What was that?
3 years ahead of schedule?
Yeah, of course.
Why not?
And we live in Texas. So I lived in California for 6 years and just moved back to Texas this past summer. So
Love it. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I can't believe you for some reason in my head you had been doing it way longer than 2 years. That's
I
awesome.
know. I
I
know.
love it.
It's
You're
just
freaking
like,
killing it for 2 years. But cool. So, whole point of this podcast is to help newer investors get over their fears, right? Over their fears of starting, get going and stuff like that. So, what was your first what were the fears you were most afraid of when you were starting?
ooh, where to start? I think knowledge was number one. Just not. So I say 2 years. I guess everything started for us in 2020. I guess everybody else was like, oh, this market is great. Let's get into real estate. So it was knowledge and making sure like we were doing things right and not failing, because my biggest fear was going backwards to where we were. I mean, I don't know if you know our whole story. Things were tough for us like 5, 6, 7 years ago,
Mhm.
especially when we moved to LA, going from
Right.
Texas to LA. And so it was fear of going backwards and putting ourselves in a position that we weren't prepared for and losing everything. I would say that's still a fear to this day, is losing
Mhm.
everything. If we make one mistake, if it were just me and I made a mistake, then I'm only hurting me. But if it's me and I make a mistake, it's also hurting our family, it's hurting our children. So that's a fear that definitely set in, because being an investor, being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart.
Right.
You are taking risks. You're not cushioned by anything. It's what you do is what you do, and what comes out of it is based on what you do. so
Right.
so
So
yeah.
how'd you get over that? I understand that's a tough fear, right? Having to deal with losing everything and like, thinking about what would happen if all of that happened. So how'd you overcome that fear? How'd you get over it?
So I took this perspective of, okay, here's where I am. Let's say 2021. In my brain, I was like, here's where I am right now, and here's where I want to be. If in 5 years, heck, if in a year I'm in the same place I'm in right now, how would I feel? I would be pissed. I would be really upset
Right.
if I were in the same position right now, not doing anything, living very carefully, and living I guess, in a scarcity mindset, not in a mindset of abundance. If I were to fast forward my life a year from now, it's like, would I be okay with myself and not doing anything? And the answer was no. Would I be okay with myself in 5 years? No. So was it worth the risk, and is it worth the risk of at least trying and saying, at least we tried? Then yeah, absolutely. Because it's like, well, what if I fail? Well, what if you succeed?
Right.
So
Yeah, like what if you do succeed? Like
yeah,
literally, then like, you get everything you've ever dreamed of, right?
yeah,
Or like you
50-50
can get
chance,
everything
right?
you dreamed of. Literally, you get everything that you wanted. Like get and like failing, I mean, I get it with a family. That can be really That's a different story than for me, for instance, because I'm a single guy, so it's way easier.
Yeah.
But what it can do for your family afterwards, if you are able to succeed, is absolutely life changing.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Like
I
I
love
said,
it.
we had a 50-50 chance of, 50% of, failing, 50% of succeeding. Our odds are pretty even. And, I feel like we are, it was up to me. So if we did fail, then does that mean it's the end all be all? No, you just figure out what happened. And it's not even a failure, it's learning. So you figure out what happened, what can you do to get better. And then I also wanted our real story. My younger son, he's an actor, and there's a
Mhm.
reason why we went to LA. And seeing him go to, I mean, from the age of 6 years old, audition after audition after audition after audition, being told no, 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 yet every day getting another script at 6 and 7 years old, getting back on the pony and saying, all right, I'm going at it again. I'm like, come on.
Right.
If he can do it, I can do it. So
I love it.
yeah.
I love it so much. So where do you think these fears come from? I'm curious, like, because I know you deal with this. I know you teach people. You're a master leader, just like I am, right? Where do you think? I get the fear of failure. That can be scary because you've never done it before. But like, do you think these are ingrained in us in childhood? Do you think we all just have them? I'm curious, like, where do you think the source of these fears are?
I think so I grew up in a single family home. Never, no one in my family or my husband's family, we're the first of our family to actually go down this path of, creating this, lifestyle and, financial freedom and investing. We're teaching our parents how to do what we're doing.
Hmm.
And I think the fear comes from not knowing any other way.
Right.
You're used to a certain way, and you're used to living a certain, you grow up in a certain way, so that becomes comfortable, right? So when things get uncomfortable, you know I think our genetic build as humans is, once something gets uncomfortable, that I guess you can even say maybe it's not fear. Maybe it's just, you're outside of your comfort zone, and we automatically trigger that as a fear. So you could say, well, maybe it's not a fear, but it's like you're outside of your comfort zone, and we always want to retreat back into that shell of being back in our comfort zone, because it's all we know. It's what we're familiar with, until
Hmm.
we create a new normal. I was reading something, I can't, hopefully I don't butcher it, but it was like something along the lines of our successes, like our successes of yesterday. I'm going to completely butcher this, but if you look in the rearview mirror, it's it wasn't necessarily that it would have been a success looking into it in the future. But when you look into it in the rear view, if I look, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a success. However, if I were to think about that same thing 6 months ahead, oh heck no, it would have been fear.
Right.
So I think, those fears just come from what we're used to, and just a certain level of comfort that we start to grow towards. I'm a CrossFit athlete, and when I first started, you tell me, hey, go do 50 strict handstand push-ups. No, that's outside of my comfort zone. However, you get comfortable in different levels to where that no longer becomes a fear to go upside down on your hands, and do a handstand push-up or a handstand walk. It now becomes the new normal. Um, so I say like, you can grow out of these fears. It's just you making the choice to actually do it,
I
or you
love
can
it.
stay in that fear. So
Right. Right. I mean, I love it. I mean, staying in the fear, you're going to be in that fear forever and you're going to just hate your life. Like,
yeah,
regrets is the worst thing you guys can possibly ever have. So, if you want to do this business, freaking do this business, right? Like, why not? What do you really have to lose, guys? Honestly, like, this is something I keep talking to people. It's like, okay, I get it. It's scary with kids, you have responsibilities. But in the end, though, you can do this business and start off with like doing it half time or even less and still get a deal within like 3 or 4 months, right? I excuses. I'm starting to get tired of hearing excuses. I'm like, come on, guys. We can freaking do this. I don't know.
yeah.
CrossFit. You are huge into CrossFit. I forgot about that. And I kind of want you to talk about the overlap between CrossFit and wholesaling, because I already know there are things you take from your CrossFit journey. First off, did you do
Yeah.
CrossFit before real estate?
Oh yeah. So I've been doing CrossFit since 2014.
Okay.
And
So how are they related? What you learned from CrossFit that you applied to your wholesaling? That's what I want to know.
Oh man, it's interesting because you find people in the gym and the mindset, we all have the same mindset. So number one, it's tough. You know, if someone thinks CrossFit, oh wow, perfect. So you think CrossFit, you say the word CrossFit, automatic to your everyday person, automatically their brain goes towards, nope, not gonna do it. It looks great. I could see the success that it's brought you. I could see, you're fit, and people say, I want to look like you. And what do you do? I'm like, well, I do CrossFit 3-4 hours a day. Ooh, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Well, I see, you're so successful and, and
You
you're
say 3 or 4 hours a day? You do
yeah.
CrossFit 3 or 4 hours? Holy moly.
Sometimes it's 5 hours, but trying
That's crazy. That is a lot for exercise. My God.
it is.
That's crazy. Well,
I get
good
to eat a
stuff.
lot. But and so on the parallel of that, people say, I see your success in wholesaling and as a real estate investor, and they're like, oh my gosh, what do you do? How do you do it? And I tell them what to do, and they're like, oh, that's too much work. So those parallels is, everybody likes what they see, they like the result, but they don't want to do the work. They don't want to do what it takes to get to it. They want, the easy button. And in starting, CrossFit in 2014, again, could I do a handstand walk? Walk across an entire floor in my hands? Absolutely not. But it took the work and it took, doing the reps day after day after day to finally be able to do it. Same thing with investing in wholesaling. You do the reps day after day after day after day, the result is going to come. Are you going to do it? And do you have the stamina to withhold to, go through the struggles? Does it hurt? Absolutely. Does it hurt when a real estate agent gets mad at you? Yes. Does it hurt when your muscles are pounding? And yes, but what is the result at the end? So, paralleling those two, it's just a mindset thing. And so if it really fixes you to truly understand the results are going to come, it's just what you're willing to do, what you're willing to endure every day to get that result.
100%. I mean, I still don't know anyone who honestly put in at least 4 hours a day for 3 months and didn't get a deal. And honestly working. And especially if they were part of these communities, if they're part of Astro or Sub 2 or any of these, and they actually put in 4 hours a day, right? I don't know a single person who didn't get a deal at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't feel like, maybe this is leadership bias, but I don't feel it's possible if you honestly put in the work every day. Now I know people who can't scale up, that's a lot harder, but to just get a deal, to be able to do deals, I feel like literally the failure rate is so high because of that. Because of they're not being persistent every day. They just do the thing every single day for 4 months. I don't think it's even possible after 4 months.
It's not
possible.
possible.
Like, I don't think it is. I just wanted to stress that. And I wanted to commend what you're doing and how that you got from the CrossFit training, what you needed or what you learned, you took the lessons and applied it to business. It's something I've noticed with athletes in general that, I mean, Jesus, Brittany, if you can freaking go 4 hours a day in the freaking gym, which is harder? CrossFit or wholesaling? Tell the people what we really want to know.
CrossFit. I mean, even the time, this last Saturday, I went to the gym on a Saturday, y'all. Went to the gym at 10 o'clock in the morning. We didn't leave the gym till 4 in the afternoon. Just, one thing after
what are you even doing in there?
I think our coach, he just comes and he's like, oh, we're going to do this. And, okay, we're going to do this now. But, you made a great point earlier. You said excuses. And I actually just recorded something and talking about how much I absolutely hate excuses because it's so easy just to say, oh, well, I got to pick the kids up or, well, I have a job or, oh, I mean, you can come up with every single excuse. To me, excuses don't exist because I look at it this way. If there's something I want to go after, right? So say, I want to hit $250,000 or $500,000 this year. And in my brain last year at the beginning, let's see, we're in 2023. So let's say in 2022, in my brain, before doing and knowing what I know, I could have easily said, it is impossible for me to make $500,000 in a year. No, who does that? I have no way to do that. But you rewire your brains. And my thought is that if I can look and see that someone else has done it, like you were a perfect example. I remember seeing you on an Astro call, and I think you had made like $60,000. I was new. I think you had made $60,000 something in a month. I was like, okay, so if he can do it, there's nothing written that says I can't do it. There's absolutely no reason why I cannot do something that someone else has already proven to do. So in my brain, if someone else has already proven to do it, then it is a million times, percent possible that I can do it as well. Now, will it take me longer? Maybe. Will I go another route? Maybe. But if someone has already proven that something can be done, then it's doable. Now it's up to me to do it.
I
So,
love that.
yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't even know I made $60,000 in a month.
I don't know. It was,
Who even knew?
to me, it was a lot of money. I don't know. I was like,
No, I
wow.
just know that must have been. How long ago was that? Maybe a few years ago. Was it like when you were just starting?
You're still living in Northern California. I used to say this little thing at the end of every call. It was just like so inspiring. It was really cool.
Like,
I was like,
reach
oh,
reach
okay.
out to me if you need help. I need to go on the calls more. Do you still go on the calls?
Every once in a while, I might dial in just to listen. Have my earbud in and just listening in. But
Yeah, I need to go. I need to go back on more.
yeah.
Okay, Brittany, let's actually
Yes.
get into you a little bit.
Okay.
So that was the fear you were dealing with. How did you even hear about wholesaling? Where did you even hear about it in the first place, or real estate?
So my husband and I both have always wanted to get into real estate, and in March of 2020, we purchased our first. It was March of 2021. We purchased our first residential long-term rental property, and that's all I knew in getting into real estate. I knew, oh, you have to purchase long-term rentals, and you rent them out, and you can cash flow maybe $500 a month. And I calculated how many doors I needed to replace my W-2 job so that I could have just cash flow. So we bought our first rental property March of 2022. Mind you, new at this, the only thing I knew was, oh, I got to go put 20% down on a conventional loan because it's an investment property. So my next property, I was like, all right, I need another one. So I was like, I need another 20% down. How do I get 20% of $200,000 like that? One of my friends in the gym, she was listening to a Bigger Pockets episode, and it was this couple who was talking about wholesaling. They went from sleeping on, a friend's couch to, making, thousands of dollars a month. And my brain, I was like, oh, that's cool. Make $5,000 in a month. Okay, let me get into this wholesaling thing. So did the whole what everybody does, started cold calling. Me and my friend, we sat in her kitchen for an hour on a Sunday cold calling people, and it was the worst thing I've ever done in my life. I was like, I will never do this again. And when you start searching things, the ads start popping up. And I was listening to Steve Trang, his podcast, and I heard Jamil's voice. And I was like, oh, that's that guy's ad that I saw pop up. And then just one thing led to the other. Sign up for Astro. And I'm a process person, so going through, hey, this is what you do to get a deal. So try calling agents. Started calling agents. We have a lot of friends. Mind you, I live in California, and the stuff I was finding in California was just, I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, well, let me do where I know. I know Texas. I know College Station, Texas. I know Houston, Texas. I know Bryan, Texas. I know Dallas. Let me go to the areas that I know back of my hand, where I know people. I think I was like 2 weeks into wholesaling. And I was like, let me make those connections. So before I even knew it had a name of Agent Outreach, I started calling a good friend of mine who was a real estate agent. And I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing, trying to find a house. He was like, oh, hey, I actually have one. Sent it over to me, went under contract. I did the big no-no of blasting a picture of the house and how much I'm asking for it and the whole address and everything on an investor Facebook page, which went back to the seller. And he was like, what is this? What are you putting my house out there for? But he was really kind about it. But long story short, we closed that deal. So I think I was like 3 or 4 weeks into Astro flipping, closed that deal, and I made $14,000. And I was like,
let's go.
my brain, I was like, because I only did it to make one. I only wanted to do one wholesale deal so we could buy a rental property. Remember that. That was my only goal,
Right.
to start wholesaling.
But then you get 14K and you're like,
right, there's something
that
to
was way too easy.
That was really easy. And so then, it was 3-4 plexes that I got under contract. They were actually listed on the market, and this is before we were targeting on market deals. Got those under contract, assigned them, made another 15K. And I was like, all right, this is something. So, the whole idea. So it took off really fast, but it was really just following the process. And like once it was proven that it could be done, then there was no question of like, okay, is this a thing? It was just like, all right, let's get the momentum going. Let's keep doing it. And then trying to figure like, where do I want to go with this? Wholesaling is an active thing, right? And so the moment you take your foot off the pedal, it stops.
Right.
So then we got towards the end of, towards the end of the year, and we're like, okay, we've made, we made quite a bit of money. And I was like, well, where do we put all of this? So that, shifted that was a whole mindset shift that we never thought that we'd have to have that discussion so soon. But I know wholesaling for us was never going to stop, just because it was, we call, you stack and rack. So you get the cash and you just stack it, and it's nice having that cushion to be able to do things with. For us to be able, when we built our house, it was not a question of, when we designed the house, we had a single door, and we're like, we could do double doors. Let's do a double entry door. Or, buying the lot that was an acre, it was like, we can actually buy 2.5 acres. So it's allowed for a lot of things that we wouldn't have otherwise had. So
yeah, talk about, just for a real quick, that feel, the different change in the mindset. This eventually happens with everyone, where there's a different change in the mindset of like, whoa, I can make 15K in a month.
yeah.
Wait a minute, I can make 60K in a month. I could
Yeah.
potentially make 6 figures in a month.
Yeah.
Like, what I remember the first time I made the first time I made 6 figures in a month, it blew my freaking brains out. I was, this is insane that I'm
Yeah.
able to do this. And then I remember when I was starting, my first deal was 10K, and I had never even had a job before that. So that was the most amount of money I've ever made in my entire life. I was, oh my God, I'm rich, baby.
Oh man.
You
Yeah.
can freaking take a vacation now, right?
Yeah. Right.
So anyways, talk a little bit about that, about thinking about how crazy it is that how money can shift, like your mindset shifts of what even is money. How do you feel? I guess the question I'm trying to ask is, how did money change for you, the concept of money, after you started wholesaling?
It was the idea that, and Jamil, our mentor says all the time, like money literally it is energy. And before wholesaling, money was just like this thing of like, I didn't deserve, I didn't have, you're always, you have a tight budget, and living paycheck to paycheck. But then this money starts coming in that we get from wholesaling, and it's like, it's almost like this freedom. And money doesn't buy happiness, but
yeah, it does.
it surely
I made a whole reel about this. Money 100% buys you happiness.
No,
It
it
completely
really
depends
does.
on what you spend it on. Bugattis
Yes.
and stuff, that's not going to make you happy, but like giving to charity, helping others, being able to feed your family,
Yes.
that is 100%
Yeah,
happiness.
because I guarantee you, when you don't have money, you're not happy either.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Anyway, so I jump in there.
it really, your mind opens to like all these possibilities that weren't there before. And the first, I think that at the very first, it's fear. Or you're kind of scared. You're like, okay, I don't want to blow this. I don't want to mess this up. This is a good thing. How do I keep it coming? At first, I felt like I didn't deserve it. So I had to overcome a lot of that, knowing that I deserve this. I worked hard for it. And then continue to, like, I meditate and I manifest, and I visualize all the time. My vision board right there, and just manifesting to have more of it. And then, actually, here, I have it right here. I just bought this.
Hey, that's the book.
And just,
have you read it yet or no?
No, it actually just came in. I've read
book.
little snippets of it, and I was like, let me just get the whole book, because I would see little snippets of it on Instagram. But that's been, I remember, just praying to God and saying, what, bless me with more so that I can give more. The more I have, the more I can do. And so that shift of like, yes, I deserve it, and I deserve it because I want to, do more with it. I want to, give more. And I remember telling our boys one day, and I sat them down, I was like, you boys will never have to worry or hear us stressed about, pinching pennies and, just money in general. No, we don't have, because now they're not spoiled by any means, but we can do things for them now, and we can do things for our family, and we can, without this stress of, oh, well, it's either, groceries or, going to the movies.
was that a stress at one point?
Oh, probably about 10 years ago. I remember,
Yeah.
I think my son was, my oldest son, he was probably 3 years old. And my husband and I actually had a piggy bank. and he's 16 now, so this is a while ago. We had a piggy bank. We had to like shake the money out of the piggy bank to gather $17 to go get gas. This is 13 years ago, which doesn't
Damn.
seem like that long ago, but it seems like a lifetime ago that we had to do that. And to know that we'll never ever go back that way is one thing, but to know also that, hey, if we can actually, if we want to plan our family trips for the entire year, we can. So that was a huge shift for us. And also, I think our kids seeing us, like my older son, you mentioned, you said before you made that first $10,000, you never had a job before. I hope you never ever have a job.
I never had like full-time career job. I had the summer jobs.
Well, I hope you never ever have a full-time career job.
I'm
Um,
never gonna have one. It's not gonna
so
be possible. It's not possible anymore.
and I think so. Our sons have seen that, especially my older son. He's like, he has no desire to work for someone. I mean, if he does, it's because he's going to be an architect and or an engineer. But other than that, like, he has no desire to work for someone because that, I mean, you're in such a trap when you do. And
Right.
those who don't know me, here's a fear. This is actually a fear. It's not. I'm still working on it, but I've kept my W-2 job. I'm still working my job since wholesaling. People are like, why don't you quit? I'm like, well, my husband, he quit. He left his job. Crazy thing, Jonah. I guess it was maybe 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks after he left his job to 100% focus. He started wholesaling as well. He loves people. I hate talking on the phone. Actually, he loves it. I think within 2 weeks, he closed a $13,000 deal just because he had that freedom to go, dive all in on this. Me, I've been at my job for it'll be 13 years in October, but it's that cushion of knowing that, all right, every 2 weeks there'll be a paycheck. Letting go of that. Can I? Yes, but it's still having that there. It's like, all right, it's still in my back pocket.
All right,
Just
here's what we're gonna do though, because I'm gonna do this live on the podcast. I'm gonna show you right now how much money that's costing you.
oh
Is
gosh,
it
okay.
a 9 to 5?
Yeah, I mean, I get to, when we moved to California, they allowed me to work from home. When we moved back to Texas, I told them, I said, I'm not coming back in the office, and I was confident to say that. I told them, I said, just because I'm moving back to Texas, I am not coming in the office. Before wholesaling, I wouldn't have dare said that, but I knew, I was like, if you fire me, I'm okay, I'm good.
Okay, we're gonna
Actually,
do the math literally right now because I do this with people. I'm putting you on blast, Brittany.
all right,
Sorry.
let's go. Let's go.
So
Let's go.
how much are you making in wholesaling a year?
A year. Last year we made we made 100 and actually, can I pull it up on here?
How much? I heard
Last
100
year,
something. How
so
much are you
last year
making
we
for a
made
day job?
185,000 in 2022, but in 2021 we made 375,000.
Love it.
So in two
So
years we made
let's
almost.
average that. So 375,000 plus 185,000 divided by 2. So you're averaging $280,000 per year and you're
Mhm.
working a full-time job. So realistically, you maybe you can put in another 8 hours into your business.
Yeah,
So how much are you making at your W-2?
I make 100,000 a year.
So you let's say you're putting in 8 hours a day
Mm-hmm.
into your wholesaling. Let's say you're
Right.
just working crazy. I'll assume it's something like that. So if you did that, basically, if you took those W-2 hours and
Mm-hmm.
put it into this, you should in theory be able to make another 280,000. So
Oh, I know.
your fear right now is costing you a grand $180,000,
I
Brittany.
know.
$180,000 is
Yeah.
being cost right now
Yeah.
because of that fear. I just want you to know that because I'm putting a number on it because then
Yeah.
you're going to really freaking know, damn, this is really not worth it
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. And even with,
I need to think about that. I want that to hit.
I know. Well, even last year, I know a lot of us faced it from, from July to October, the wholesaling side, like for us, like, it took a slump just because people got scared of where the market was going. And then after October, things went great. But even not having this, what we had experienced from like January to June, and then having that lull from July to October, we would have been fine. So it's, you're right.
I am right. I know I'm right. I'm just letting you know because that's an exercise I do with a lot of people who are afraid to quit their W-2s. Of you're costing yourself so much money. This fear is like destroying your earning potential, potentially, right? You would be
Mhm.
able to, I'm just saying, realize that it costs you $180,000 to stay at your job that you probably, maybe you probably enjoy it, but I'm just letting you know it costs you $180,000.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if anyone from my job is watching this live. So no, they've been really good to me. But no, I actually made so my boss actually lives in New York and he comes in town. He was in town last week and I went into his office and I actually sat in that, and I had to do this for me just to kind of put that stamp on it. I told you in October it will be 13 years that I've been there. And I went to his office and said, I need to let you know that it is not my goal to make my 13-year anniversary. And he was like, what? I was like, I have to say this so that I actually do leave before I hit my 13-year anniversary with you all in October. He was like, okay. He's like, can you give us a 3-month notice? I'll try. So this year will be my last year there, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the next chapter. I mean, I just get so filled with joy when my husband and I are looking at properties together, and even now we're fixing flipping and deciding like just different exit strategies, and it's I love it, and nothing brings me that much joy in a profession outside of CrossFit. It's almost equivalent. And to sit at a desk and like do a job that's just mundane because you get a paycheck from it. I mean, that's a terrible way to live. And I can feel the battle internally, and I know that I will have a huge change, even just learning environments and just internally, externally, once I do make that decision that, let go of that fear.
I want to keep yelling at you, but I'm not going to do it.
I know you're going to yell.
Stop yelling at you. Even though I really internally want to be, that is, you have too much service to give to everyone around you to be working your W-2. There are too many people who need you to make way more money and give way more than for you to be at a W-2. I'm just gonna say, I'll leave it at that because I don't want to just to be a yelling thing.
You should text me 180,000 every morning.
Literally, I should. I'll hire a VA. I'll pay a VA an extra 5 minutes to come in and text you.
Brittany.
That would be funny. Guys, next week we're back on regular schedule, 5 p.m. PST. I'm pretty sure next week is Vina Jetty, which is going to be sick.
Ooh,
that's a big one. Every once in a while we get a big one, guys, and so don't miss that. She's like queen of raising money, so that's going to be amazing. Brittany, you're amazing. Thank you guys so much. I will see y'all next week.
Thanks for having me.
Freaking go.